Friends, welcome once again to another Real Deal Wealth video. Today we're going to be tackling a very challenging topic, and that is the crisis of 2021, the housing crisis. And we're going to start with a little bit of maybe not crystal balling so much, but a few predictions on what we think is coming down the pipeline, what you can expect based off of some data that's coming now that is available. So stick around. This is going to be a good one. So as you know, I am Scott. I'm a side hustle specialist. We've got Steve Graber with us, who is your real estate go-to, as well as David Stroud, all things money and mortgages. And together we have obviously a collective knowledge of some things and really are hoping to share some great valuable information with you guys. If this is valuable, remember to hit that thumbs up button, remember to subscribe. We got a bunch of other topics that we tackle. Today, we're looking at the housing market crisis of 2021, but we're also looking at what is coming down the pipeline. We're going to be making some predictions. Again, we're not crystal ballers here. We're just people that study this stuff and are wanting to share some of our findings. So I think it may be helpful to talk first about pain points. These are the things within our own communities that we've really run into time and time again as we've been dealing with this 2021 crisis. So for me, what I've primarily been running into is folks like myself in their 30s and their 40s. These are early millennials as well as Gen Xers. And most of us are looking to upgrade. A lot of us are homeowners. We're not renters at this point. We're just looking to upgrade, getting into a better house, a bigger house. And what we're encountering is a supply and demand issue that is just not going away. It seems like anytime you're wanting to bid on a house, again, you're going up against 20 other offers. All of those are up to, we're hearing crazy numbers like 20% over asking. I mean, just ludicrous stuff. So we don't want to purchase in that kind of an environment. We already are stable with the current house that we have, and getting into something that we overpay for just doesn't feel good. The other thing we're seeing is our folks, so these are the baby boomer generation, are much healthier than potentially any other generation before them, better medical care, better health options, and they're staying in their homes longer. And so all of these homes that are potentially supposed to go on the market like they have historically are not, because our parents are wanting to stay in place as they're healthier. So these are the two things that I'm seeing. What do you guys think? What happens now as the supply and demand issue continues to increase?
Yeah, right now, as you're reading, I think we're at about a 2.8 million shortage on housing, and it's really causing a real issue for people trying to find a house. Again, and with the construction costs being the way they are, it's really becoming more and more tight. And so, again, people aren't even, what I'm seeing as a real estate agent, people aren't even wanting to move very much because, yeah, I can sell my home easily because it's such a need out there, but trying to find a house is almost impossible. So it's almost better just to hold on to what I've got rather than moving out. Is that what you're seeing too, David?
See the exact same thing. I mean, I've heard it time and time again where people say, "Yeah, I could sell my house and I can make $100,000 or $200,000 more through the appreciated value than I paid for it right now." But then, where do I buy? Where's that other house? And so, unless you're moving out to a very rural community or an undesirable location, it's really hard for that to happen for sure. But I think as far as when you mentioned bidding over an asking price and these appraisal gaps we're seeing, I think the key there is being able to align yourself with a really knowledgeable and professional real estate agent who's going to help you to be able to navigate that effectively. I know I have buyers right now, they're closing just a few days. They put an offer on a house. They put in their contract that they are going to pay $15,000 over the appraised value, or to fill in the appraisal gap. So if the house appraised less than their offer, they are willing to pay up to $15,000 more than the house appraised for it, so they can still match that rate. But then the house ended up appraising for $7,000 over the price they offered. And so I think that's what's key there, is being able to make sure you have a realtor who's working for you and is really good at negotiating, so that you can make sure that you're putting in the best offer possible, so that you will be able to get a deal, because there are deals available for those that are prepared.
So let's make a prediction out of this. What happens in the next year, in the next 5 years with supply and demand? So let's say July 2022. Where are we at? What's the prediction? Do you think the supply is increased or not? I say no way. I think it's going to be at least the same, if not even less demand or less supply because of all the new millennials and we've been a boomer generation holding on to their homes. What do you guys think?
I would agree 100% on that too. I think, right now they're saying it's like a 3.8 million people are turning age 30. There's a lot of millennials trying to get in the market. So there's a huge demand there that's coming forward. Because now, if you're 30 years old, now you can afford it. You got a good job. But again, that just puts more pressure on supply. And I think there's more to it as well. I think supply is just going to continue to be an issue. Yeah, just also with the construction costs. I think with the construction costs being the way they are, and they continue to be high until we can come up with some new technologies and things, I think it's going to be a supply issue going forward.
And I think the baby boomers, when they go to sell their homes and looking to downsize, it's going to make it even more difficult for those millennials that are first-time homebuyers, because they're kind of competing in that same market to some degree, a smaller home. And so, that's going to make it even harder for them, I think, too.
So there you go. Again, I think between 1 and 5 years, supply is not going to change. It's going to get harder, even more competitive. It doesn't mean a deal's not available, like David mentioned. Make sure you're working with a good realtor. Hit us up in the description box below if you guys just have questions for us about that. Both Steve and I are in the real estate world, and David is your mortgage go-to guy. We're here for your questions. Okay, so let's move on from that. Steve, tell us a little bit more about your world, your community, what you're seeing in quote unquote renter nation.
Yeah, when I say renter nation, what that basically means is that I think we're moving more to a renter based society rather than the home ownership. So we've seen rises and falls over time. We saw, even back in kind of near 2008, before 2008, 2005, we saw, we're up, around the upper 60s as far as home ownership rates. And then that fell dramatically where we started seeing more and more people renting all the time. Back now in 2020, we've seen a rise again in kind of home ownership. But during the pandemic, which is kind of, I'm not sure exactly why, but it did. Home ownership has gone up, but now we're seeing a drastic decline in home ownership. And I think it's going to continue to become more of a renter nation. So for 68% home ownership now, I could easily see that be 61, 62%, maybe 60%. But it could even, who knows, maybe it even exceeds where there'll be more renters than there will be homeowners at some point. And because of the supply issue, again, you got millennials that are entering the market. I'm seeing this pain point because I know of people trying to find a house and they can't find it. And I think, but so what they do is then obviously they go find a rental. But even rentals are getting tough too, because there's only so many rentals that are out there for people to choose from. So it's getting harder and harder. And the prices of rents, I think, are going to continue to go up as well. David and Scott, would you also think in a year from now, July 2022, do you think rental prices will be increased or decreased, or what is your feeling about what it's going to be like?
Yeah, I would say we're going to see a massive increase in rental rates. I also think that the overall rent for that unit will go up. But what I think we're going to start seeing is more and more people getting comfortable with the idea of cohabitating, right? So obviously, in order to get that price per person within a unit down, you have to have multiple people inside of a unit. And so I'm already seeing this within our own community, brothers and sisters starting to live together, or maybe a couple of generational families getting a larger house and then splitting it, where the kids are living in the basement, parents are living upstairs. Multiple friends are getting together and living, instead of just maybe one or two, it's 3 or 4 now. So, and you see this a lot, I think, in European countries, but it's something that we as Americans really haven't embraced too much. So that's the other thing I think we'll see is rental prices increase, and the potential solution is people cohabitating a little more tight-knitly.
Yeah, I think shared housing is a kind of wave of the future. I really do now. Like you said, again, families moving back together, but I'm starting to see it. There's a group that I know of called Odd Couples Housing. What they're trying to do is simply just bring people together that are unrelated, have the same need to lower their costs for rent. And I think we're going to see, kind of like it's like car sharing. I think we're going to see more house sharing coming up.
So there you go. That's our second prediction. I think about if you're a landlord, if you own rental properties, I think you're going to be really happy over the next few years as you're able to charge more for those rentals. But I also think you as a landlord need to understand, make exceptions, allow more people to cohabitate potentially. If you are a renter, I think you can expect overall rates to go up. But again, maybe find some of those lesser used solutions like living together with a few other people in a closer proximity. It might be a good solution. Well, let's move on to potentially the mortgage world and what people can expect. There's been a lot of rumors of higher interest rates, maybe some really interesting solutions. David, tell us what's stirring in your world.
Absolutely. And I mean, here's the thing with what we've discussed, one single piece of legislation could change everything we talked about, right? And so that's the same situation with what's happening in mortgages. And so the Fed, they're heavily involved with what's happening with mortgage rates and with buying up mortgage bonds. And so based on what happens with the purchasing of those bonds, it can drive rates up or down. More than likely, rates are pretty low right now still, right? More than likely, rates are going to go up. I've heard predictions that within the next 4 years, your average rate will be about 4%. Who's to say if that's correct or not? There's so many people making predictions, but that's a possibility. And there could be ebbs and flows in that process. But here's the thing: if you're thinking, should I wait or should I buy right now? I think it goes back to fortune favors the prepared. And so if you're not in a position to where you can buy, I think it's always smart to get in that position, right? Find out what your options are, build a plan. If you don't have someone to help you that plan, find someone who can. I know Steve and Scott, you guys can help with people. There are other mortgage people that can help people put together a financial plan for purchasing a home and to find out what your goals are for home ownership. And just being ready, because there are deals available all the time. People pass away, people get divorced, things happen. And if you have a team on your side to help you to get through that door when it opens, we don't want people to be waiting and wishing. We want you to be able to put together a plan so you can proactively plan and then live the life that you want. And so right now, rates are low. Who knows what they're going to be like in a few years, but also who knows what home prices are going to be like in a few years. I think that we might see a dip. When I say dip, I'm not saying a negative dip. I'm saying we're at a really high trajectory right now. It might drop. It might change a little bit with what happens with different types of legislation and with supply and demand. But what happened in 2008? We're in an entirely different situation right now. Supply and demand was the opposite in 2008 than it is right now. And we're expecting to have the largest group of first-time homeowners that we've ever seen. This group of 30 to 34-year-olds that we're going to see in the next few years is larger than the baby boomer generation. And so they're going to be looking to purchase homes. It might be unique how they're looking to do it, but that's just what I'm seeing.
Yeah. We recently heard a rumor of 40-year mortgages, another thing that's potentially coming down the pike. If you guys haven't already, hit that subscribe button because we're going to have David do a deep dive, a quick video on just that specific topic when that'll be coming out actually really soon.
And that is an option. Yeah. So there are opportunities for people to get 40-year mortgages. They're not very available. You have to do some shopping to find, but yeah, those are options. But there are some negatives and some positives of that. And we'll get into that more of a deep dive later.
No, I mean, just I think you summed up there too, David. I think you're being prepared. It's when a lot of times when you play a board game or if there's things that are happening or whatever, it's the same sort of circumstances for everyone. Or if you're watching like an NFL game or especially like an NFL game, if the weather's bad, it's bad for both teams. And I think it's right now we're coming into it. It's an even playing field. So yes, right now we're seeing eviction moratoriums, the forbearance stuff, all the stuff that's kind of happening, the interest rates going up. But again, it's the same level playing field really for everyone. So it's how you deal with it. And David, as you said, being prepared. The more you can be prepared, the better you are. And that's really the key, because I believe that anyone can make money or make profit on even bad situations. There's opportunities with every challenge. There's an opportunity. I really believe very strong on that.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so there you go. Last major prediction I think we have is yes, interest rates will most likely go up. I would say don't let fear of interest rates going up force you into buying something you're not ready for, though, just because you might miss out on a lower interest rate. 4% still isn't that bad compared to where it was, decades ago.
4%.
Yeah, and so 4% still good. It's, obviously it's great to have something a little bit better, but if you're not ready, you're not going to miss out on a ton by interest rates going back up a little bit. So there you go, friends. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Are there things we missed and didn't cover? Hit us up in the description box below in the comment section. We'd love to hear from you. Again, if you have any questions, you're looking for a good real estate agent or a recommendation, you're looking for somebody who can help you understand what you can afford in the mortgage world, we're here for you. Our email addresses are in the description box. Hit us up at any point. Again, hit that like button if this has helped. Hit the subscribe button, hit that bell notification, all that good stuff. You know what to do. And stay tuned because we're going to hit you up with a bunch more videos. Those are coming out really soon. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again on the next one.